There are many titles which were given to Imam Ali during his lifetime. One of those titles focused on his great ability as a warrior, as someone who went into battle and fought for the sake of the way of God. So he was called Asadullah, the Lion of God. It speaks about his inner strength. It speaks about his courage. It speaks about his bravery. But when we think about a warrior or a soldier today, what kind of a person is that? Is that just a killing machine? Just somebody who goes into battle and, as it were, enjoys the process of fighting? Or is there something more to it? Often in history, we talked about the nobility of those knights who went into battle, or we talked about a code of chivalry, how you would conduct yourself when you went into battle. And so what sort of a warrior then was Ali, the Lion of God? Well, first we need to see that it was not just the Lion of God, the title given to Imam Ali. He was also called Al-Sadiq, that is, the truthful one. He was called Imam al-Muttaqin, the leader of the God-fearing, of those who are full of taqwa, of those whose piety comes all the way through their life and everything they do and say. And he was also called Abu Turab, the father of the dust of the earth. Imagine after you had been in battle and there were cuts on one's body, then one would take some of the dust of the earth, the sand, and one would use it to staunch the bleeding, to cover up the wound. And in this way we see that there are many sides to the character of Ali the warrior. What kind of battle scenes do we see in which Ali is involved? Well, let's just take one of them. This is a scene during the Battle of the Trench, when Ali went out in single-handed combat with one of those who came to attack the people of Medina. And the fighting went on and went to and fro until eventually Ali was successful. And he had the man down on the ground and was just about to deliver the final death blow. And then the man spat in his face. At this, Ali sheathed his sword and walked away. And people said to him, "Why did you do that? You had him. He was down. He was yours." And Ali answered, "He was mine all right, and I would have delivered the final death blow, except that he spat in my face. And then the motive for killing him would have been completely the wrong motive. It would have been a motive of anger, a motive of revenge. And these motives are quite unworthy of one who fights in the name of God. And therefore, I put up my sword and I walked away." This is a very important example of that famous hadith that all our actions are given their character or are judged by the intention that lies behind them. All our actions are but our niyyah. So our niyyah then becomes crucial in giving an ethical value to all our actions. If the motive is wrong, then the act will be wrong too. And so here was Ali about to do what would have been a good act, a righteous act, in order to defeat his opponent, to save the battle. But that act has to be stopped because the motive would then have been wrong. This is a lesson then for all those who would engage not just only in fighting and battle, but in any action of our lives, first of all to examine the motive behind it before we think of that action itself. There was another occasion when Ali was in single-handed combat and had defeated his enemy and was just about to deliver the fatal blow. And on this occasion, the man called down blessings upon Ali and said that may God grant you nobility and grace. At this sign, Imam Ali acted in the noble way of saying, I should show mercy to this person who has indeed called down the mercy and the grace of God upon me, and has therefore asked me to act in a noble way. So we get away from any suggestion that to be a warrior is to glory in fighting and killing people. Instead, it is to act in a noble and chivalrous way after the example of Imam Ali. And we see this nobility in battle all the way through his life, the way that he is calling forth mercy upon people, restraining people not to start fighting, calling upon them not to use any more force than that which is necessary, and always putting restrictions around the fighting to make sure that it is the minimum that is required in order that the message of Islam should not be lost. And in this way we see Ali as the noble one and also the chivalrous one, the one who actually puts into practice that code of respect for all humankind. Ali then we see as being a role model in so many different elements of his life, calling upon us to reflect upon our own life, upon our own motives, not just motives in battle. What are the motives that lie behind the kind of job that I take, the kind of work that I do? What are the motives beyond the way that I spend my time, my leisure time? What are the motives that lie behind my prayer? Do I really have a pure niyyah before I engage in prayer? What are the motives that lie behind my stewardship of my finances? Am I making sure that those who are in need have a fair share and more than a fair share of the call upon that money which is disposable, which is in excess in my life? What are the motives that lie behind the call of the beggar or the poor person who is in need and who asks me for their help? So in this way, Ali becomes a role model in questioning our own motives and asking, do we act according to those highest ideals, which are the ideals of nobility and generosity, of mercy, of truthfulness, and of chivalry? Or do we stoop to the level of many in the world around us, where lives are determined by might and wealth, by abuse of people, by exploitation of people, and by not respecting their ultimate human dignity? So Ali, the Lion of God, the role model of nobility and chivalry.